We have Christina. We have Christina from Woodburn Accountants and Advisors, then 2 case studies from David from Gruff Stuff, and also Kathy from Brighton Jean. So I'll first start to give a very quick introduction of who we are and how TDC could help, followed by sharing with from Christina, and then the case studies, and followed by Q&A sessions. So you may send through any questions during the whole webinar through the chat room functions. And now, without further ado, I'll quickly share the latest opportunities and consumptions landscape in Hong Kong and GBA. So let me just share the screen. I hope everyone could see the share screen. Do let me know if you can't. So many of the audience here today might have heard of the HKTDC, but please allow me to quickly introduce who we are and what we do. So the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, the HKTDC, contributes to Hong Kong's advantages and roles in international businesses through a range of tasks. We are a statutory trade promotion body for Hong Kong as an international business hub linked to the Greater Bay Area, the ASEAN opportunities, and your business partners in Hong Kong. We are also an international trade fairs and conferences organizers, organize over 30 trade fairs every year in Hong Kong, and many of which are the largest in the world and in Asia. And actually on my background, the building here is where we host all our events. And first, may I quickly update you the Hong Kong latest economy. Hong Kong's economy has expanded by 5.4% year-on-year in the real terms in the third quarter of 2021, after an increase of 7.6% in the preceding quarter. And the value of retail sales in nominal terms has increased by 7.3% year-on-year in September 2021. So you can see that despite what is happening with COVID and the pandemic, etc., the retail sales, the GDP growth, and the merchandise trade are still very robust and strong. In terms of the Hong Kong-UK trade sentiments, Hong Kong was the UK's 12th largest trading partner in the 4 quarters to the end of 2021, which is accounting for about 1.9% of total UK's GDP, total UK trade. And total UK exports to Hong Kong amount to about 11.7 billion in the 4 quarters to the end of Q2 in 2021. And out of which 7.3 billions were goods and about 4.4 billions were services. The data that are presented in the charts indicates UK has been running a trade surplus with Hong Kong since 2015, meaning that exporting from the UK is larger than importing from Hong Kong. And what is the Greater Bay Area? The Guangdong-Macau Hong Kong Bay Area has a population of more than 86 million people, which is larger than that of UK, with a combined GDP of nearly 1.7 trillion US dollar. So the region's economy is comparable to that of the South Korea. And the GBA is one of the China's wealthiest regions, offering a huge consumer market. It has innovation and technology, as well as manufacturing capabilities. So for international businesses, the GBA can also serve as an entry point to the mainland market at large, mitigating risks associated with entering a new market. And this is just a chart to help you to visualize the scale of the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macau Greater Bay Area in comparison to other Bay Area in the world. As the flow of people within the Greater Bay Area is facilitated, Hong Kong will play an even more important role as a gateway for international lifestyle products to reach the increasingly affluent mainland Chinese consumers. The area's populations of 86 million is a huge market for quality consumer goods and services. And Hong Kong continues to serve as a show window for mainland consumers. Each year, millions of mainlanders visit Hong Kong as shopping is high on their agendas. A range of international lifestyle goods and enter the mainland and Macau markets through Hong Kong. With joint tourism promotion campaigns and enhanced infrastructure networks, the Greater Bay Area will attract more overseas and mainland domestic tourists, further expanding the Bay Area consumer market. And how Hong Kong facilitate your products to enter the Greater Bay Area? First, through trade policy. Hong Kong is a free port and does not levy any custom tariffs on import or export, except there are 4 types of durable commodities, which are liquors, tobacco, hydrocarbon oil, and methyl alcohol. And CEPA is also a free trade agreement between mainland China and Hong Kong since 2003. The two sides continue to introduce further liberalization measures thereafter, covering trade in goods, trade in services, investment, and technical cooperations. And through the enhanced arrangements for rules of origins, all products of Hong Kong origin, except for few prohibited articles, are covered under CEPA and eligible for 0 tariff when entering into the mainland markets. And additionally, Hong Kong also has signed 8 FTAs so far, including CEPA with China, New Zealand, the member states of European Free Trade Associations. So the potential of Greater Bay Area is clear, and Hong Kong Trade Development Council, the HKTDC, is ready and willing to work with international businesses to take full advantage of these opportunities. We have signed MOU, Memorandums of Understandings, with the 10 other Greater Bay Area cities already, and further cooperations with the Guangdong provincial government to organize trade missions for mainland enterprise to go out and also explore investment opportunities in both mature and emerging markets. So overseas suppliers of lifestyle products and services can sell to the GBA through Hong Kong platform, such as exhibiting at fairs at Hong Kong. As I mentioned, the TDC, we organize over 30 product and service trade fairs every year with many buyers from the mainland, including the GBA. And according to a TDC survey last year, consumers in the GBA cities have become increasingly interested in quality products and services from all over the world. And in the foreseeable futures, the GBA consumer market will set to develop into a more open and internationalized market, which will attract the entry of quality products and services. Another TDC survey last year also found that many consumers from the 9 mainland GBA cities are regular visitors to Hong Kong. They visit Hong Kong at least twice a year on average, of course, before COVID time. So as such, international companies eyeing the GBA's markets, consumer market in particular, can start by setting up in Hong Kong or partnering with Hong Kong to test the markets. As mentioned, we help companies to enter the GBA through various platforms. First is our trade fairs. And with global trading become increasingly digitalized in the wake of the pandemic, we are staging various virtual trade fairs, including the HKTDC Lifestyle Sourcing Show, which is a trade exhibitions held both online and physical formats to help business to adjust to the new trading model and overcome challenges. So the show have gathered more than 580 exhibitors. The physical format took place last week from the 1st of 3rd December at the Convention Exhibition Center. And after joining the physical show, buyers and suppliers can engage through a dedicated online exhibition platform, which will run through until the end of this week, the 10th of December. And we offer an AI-powered smart meeting platform called the Click to Match online platform that enables suppliers to identify potential buyers, but also schedule online meetings, conduct live chats, and virtual meetings with each other. We have connected thousands of buyers and sellers around the world through our virtual BM platform in the last virtual shows. And some of them will be assisted by our business matching teams to offer complimentary translation service and assistance. So if anyone have missed the lifestyle sourcing show, don't panic. We have more virtual show coming in the next few months in the coming year. So do get in touch if you would like to participate. We have also, apart from the virtual and hybrid trade fairs, we also offer a platform facilitating business continue to export and trade. The HKTDC understand the challenges for businesses, particularly for SME. So to help them to tackle some of the issues, we recently complete the revamp of our sourcing platform called the hktdc.com sourcing to offer companies a new digital sourcing and selling solutions, connecting global buyers with their preferred suppliers more seamlessly. We have more than 50 years experiences in connecting buyers and suppliers through our world-class exhibitions and our global network of 50 offices. we have established a close partnerships with trade promotion organizations around the world. And 20 years ago, we launched our online sourcing platform. Since then, we have been educating SME to build their online profiles, developing multimedia content, etc., and also through our app-based and O2O solutions. Also, as a major publisher of trade publications, we have also digitalized our product magazines and attract global readerships. So the platform features more than 2 million registered international buyers and over 130,000 suppliers of products and services. Through our year-round digital marketing campaigns and promotions at global trade events, we generate more than 20 million business connections between buyers and suppliers each year. And with the latest AI and machine learning technologies, our TDC.com sourcing offers a more efficient and accurate personalized searching experiences in helping buyers to find better match and faster deals. Suppliers' information, production capabilities, and certificates are verified by third-party authorities available to help buyers to make the right choice. And also with a simple user interface and refined search mechanism, we have increased the search accuracy to maximize efficiency. And by adopting the latest AI technologies and product recommendations are tailored to users' preferences and help save time. This also increased the chance of building new connections and even closing deals. And to buyers, suppliers' credentials and reliability are very important considerations, particularly the connections are made online. So there are some indicators on the platform, including average response time and history of participation in the TDC events are used for reference. A credential label, gold, silver, and bronze will be shown on the supplier's page. And we also offer a very intuitive message center and inquiry form to make the communication easier and more direct between the suppliers and the buyers. You can also make use of a one-on-one voice and video call functions. So alongside the upgraded platform, we offer a suite of support services and launch year-round marketing activities to maximize the business opportunities for suppliers and buyers. Our customer success team will help SME, the suppliers, unleash potential on digital marketing, boost exposure and performance on our platform. Other resources such as the Newsbite and also other content platform containing industry news and insight and social media page will help sharing more sourcing related products. We also organize periodical thematic campaigns to help suppliers and buyers forge closer business connections. So do start your journey there and do get in touch if you have any questions about this platform. And as I mentioned, we have an office of 50 offices around the world. I'm based in the UK and we look after the UK, Benelux and Ireland market. So thank you very much.
Hi everyone, it's my turn now. Let
Yes.
me just share my screen as well. Whoops, let me go backwards. Apologies. Oh, I'm giving you the whole presentation. Let me stop my share and go back to the beginning. There we go. Oh, it's not working. I'll just go backwards. So today I'm talking about the know-how on exporting to Hong Kong and mainland China markets. And just a little bit about myself. My name is Christina Kohler-Colucci. I'm the head of business advisory at Woodburn Accountants and Advisors. My focus has been for the last 17 years on helping foreign investors with their market entry into Hong Kong and China. Our head office is based in Hong Kong and we have our subsidiary in China. I apologize for the background light, but I have actually just landed 5-6 days ago now in Hong Kong, and I'm officially in the 21-day quarantine hotel. And the lighting in the room is not of the greatest. What we do is we help companies create their strategies for China and ultimately help them implement those strategies, whether it's through trademark registrations or company establishments. And ultimately, our goal is to help these companies then scale up in those markets. So today I'm going to be talking about 5 tips, 5 pieces of know-how that I think are critical if you are looking to export into the Hong Kong and either Chinese market. Ultimately, these are 5 tips that are very specific to the Hong Kong Chinese market, but ultimately you can generalize this if you're looking to expand into Asia as a whole. So the first tip I'm going to give is save your brand. And ultimately what I would like all of you to do is calculate how much is your brand worth to you. Now, like in any other jurisdiction around the world, it is very easy to register trademarks. If you feel that Hong Kong or China or any other jurisdiction in Asia is a potential market for you to be able to sell, you should be focusing on that as soon as possible. In fact, if you are on today's presentation, it means that you are already showing interest in these markets, and you should be registering your brand assets as soon as possible. Considerations for registering your trademarks is very simple. It's first of all searching whether the trademark is available to be registered. It's then choosing what brand assets you actually want to register. This simply means what are you going to be utilizing as marketing tools to promote your brand in the market. So if you are selling into Hong Kong, where will your brand names be seen? What brand names are you going to be using? You know, there's some brands that might have 2 to 3 or 4 different pieces of collateral that they use for their branding activities and marketing activities. The next is just understanding who's going to own that trademark. Do you have an IP entity that owns all trademark globally, or are you just going to have your head office own it? And then we've got to look at the classes and subclasses of the goods and services that you want to register in. Usually what I say to clients is either use the template that you've already created by registering it in your home jurisdiction. So if you're from the UK, then taking that trademark registration from the UK and using that as a template on the classes and subclasses you would want to register in Hong Kong and in China. And that's it. I mean, it's so simple. It's these 4 little steps. What I can say about protecting your trademark is that in a lot of instances, it's not on the priority list upon entry. The priority is always sell, 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 and I'll think about administration later. Trademark registration is an administrative process. It is a vital process. You cannot sell into a market unless you own that brand. If somebody else were to squat it or hijack it, you can't get into that market. It's almost impossible. So I want you all to be aware of how important it is for you to register this as soon as possible. The second is data. This is the second tip I've got for you guys. Do you have any? Do you know what the market potential is in Hong Kong? Have you done some analytical work to understand who your consumers are? There's a whole variety of different types of research you can do if you are a consumer brand. It's looking at market segmentation, it's doing product testing, advertising testing, looking eventually at loyalty analyses, looking at brand awareness and reach. And obviously the basic is competitor benchmarking and pricing research, right? Do you know at what price points you're going to enter the market at? Do you know who your target market is so that you can niche out your marketing and branding activities? Ultimately, there's no point in coming into the Hong Kong market or Chinese market if you haven't evaluated what opportunities actually exist and to what extent those opportunities are. So research and data mining is vital. And I think it's time for me to highlight the fact that we are living in a pandemic where you cannot physically travel to, well, you can if you want to do 21 days quarantine, but it is very difficult to travel to these markets right now. Borders are shut, new regulations are popping up, in my case, mid-flight, and it's very hard. So it's important to know that there are companies on the ground that can do this type of evaluation for you, or you can also meet with distributors that will do this type of evaluation for you to know what opportunities exist and to what extent they exist, right? And the companies that are on the ground that can do these type of services will do a variety of type of services depending on what you think would be valuable to you to make a decision. whether that's secondary research, surveys, focus groups, doing interviews, whatever that might be. All right. The third tip I'm going to give you, and obviously the people that are on today's presentation, this is going to be your network, right? It's building your ecosystem. I keep reiterating to people that if they feel that Hong Kong and China are markets to get into to sell their products, they cannot go it alone, ultimately because you physically cannot travel here. So you are going to have to utilize third parties to help you gain momentum and to scale up. And these third parties can be anything from distributors to TPs to logistics providers, to branding agencies, media agencies, whatever it might be. And it's important to get that network. Now, one thing that I really believe is vital going into Hong Kong and China, and I'm born and raised in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is home for me, but I've lived 17 years in Shanghai. Knowledge is power. The more you know about how to do business in Hong Kong and beyond, the more you will be able to make solid decisions on what you need to scale up your organization. So knowledge is power. How are you going to gain that knowledge is through the network that you develop, all right? And remember, what we want to do is build a network of partners that are going to facilitate and grow the business in Hong Kong and beyond. And having that ecosystem is absolutely vital. So there are several ways to meet and connect. Like Daisy was highlighting, the Hong Kong Trade Development Council is already a first port of entry. They offer virtual trade shows, they offer B2B networking. It's a fantastic first step of building up your ecosystem and realizing who and what you need to be able to scale up and to be able to enter and then scale up in the market. But ultimately, you can also find information, and you can also find information from a network of people like lawyers, corporate service providers, chambers of commerce. So if you are in the UK, for example, you can reach out to Invest Hong Kong. You can also reach out to the China-Britain Business Council. These are all China country associations where you can further develop your network and then also gain information on current information on what's happening in the various markets. And I just want to highlight, a lot of what the Hong Kong Trade Development Council does is free of charge. A lot of what Invest Hong Kong does is free of charge. You may have to pay a little bit of money to become a member of the Chambers of Commerce or the China-Britain Business Council, for example, but it's small membership fees in comparison to what type of information and network you could develop out of that, okay? Everybody is concerned by cost, I realize that, but sometimes you have to pay just a little bit to then get enveloped with information. Other ways to meet people, like Daisy said, are these virtual trade shows. Now, I do realize that nothing is the same as a face-to-face trade show, okay? We all know that. But what I want people to realize in these times of this pandemic is that we have to pivot and transform our businesses to the new reality. And although the virtual trade shows are not optimal, I think you can also see from Daisy's presentation, it's doable, okay? Everything is doable as long as you've got a positive mindset that you're going to get something out of it. Don't forget also to get linked up. LinkedIn is a fantastic way of networking, of meeting people. My suggestion would be, as a homework, get linked up with all of the presenters from today so you can start seeing the information that they pass out about their experiences in Hong Kong and China. WeChat is fundamental if you want to get into the Chinese market, less so if you want to get into the Hong Kong market. If you haven't gotten WeChat yet, then this is absolutely something that you need to get attached to if you are going into China. And again, building up your network through the WeChat mini programs and just networking with people, just adding people constantly. The next tip 4, is vet your partners. So like I said in tip 3, it's really important to develop an ecosystem of partners because you can't go to these markets alone. But don't be nonchalant about it, right? Make sure that you are vetting the partners that you are looking to work with. Do your due diligence, do a little bit of a background check. Again, the advantage of the Hong Kong TDC is that they've got this gold, silver, bronze standards where they're already doing a little bit of vetting on your behalf in regards to the people that are in their database. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be doing your own homework as well. So vetting your partners is critical. There are a variety of ways that you can find partners. Again, you can do searches online. You can search on Google, but don't forget to search also on the various Chinese search engines like Bing. Go look at the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. There's also Tmall B2D. A lot of people don't know about this, which is business to distributors. I believe there are a couple of hundred, if not already 1,000 distributors listed on Tmall B2D. Then you've also got experienced B2B matchmaking companies. Hong Kong TDC is one of those, but you've got others that can also do that for you. And times have changed. 20 years ago, when I started working for my father, living in Hong Kong and then moving to China, as a foreign investor, everybody wanted to work with you. You were gold in the eyes of everybody. Nowadays, distributors are bombarded by inquiries of suppliers globally who are looking to sell into this region. And you need to differentiate yourself. And if you haven't already started building a reputation in Hong Kong, or you haven't started building a reputation in China, these distributors won't really be interested in you. So it's important to start thinking about building up that reputation, whether it's through digital marketing, getting yourself on Little Red Book, or other types of platforms to start getting known as a brand in the markets. Again, nobody really wants to spend money nowadays. Completely understand that. So I just wanted to give a bit of tips of what you could do in terms of at your desk for due diligence on partners. So you can do general online searches. Just don't forget to use the Chinese search engines as well. If there's a fixed phone line that's being offered, call it, test it out. Are people picking up on the other side? Who's picking up on the other side? Check if your contacts are actually employees of that company, or are they third parties that are recommending these distributors? Do a little bit of background check on your contact. Look them up on LinkedIn or other types of sources. Ask for references. So talk to third parties like customers of that distributor. Maybe you want to talk to suppliers, competitors, associations. See if anybody has got information around them. One thing I just want to highlight is that Daisy, for example, was saying that a lot of the people that are in the database for the Hong Kong TDC have been vetted by Dun & Bradstreet. That's another form of due diligence that can also be utilized to get background checks on these partners. You do have to pay money to get the reports from them, but that's another source that you can use. You can check their addresses. So do they really exist at the address that they have provided? Obviously, you can't go visit directly because you can't travel in, but you can always ask people on the ground to do those site visits. If they are based in Hong Kong or China, you can actually obtain their certificate of incorporation or business license information. You can also upfront ask them to provide their business licenses or certificate of incorporations to, again, verify whether they actually exist. You might want to check their bank account information. Is it in the name of the contact? Is the bank account in the name of the company? That's always usually a suspicious sign there if it differs. Usually companies won't provide their audit reports or financial reports, but my feeling is it never hurts to ask. If they're going to provide you with their audit report, then you have even more data at your fingertips to vet them, right? And asking doesn't hurt anybody. The worst they can say is no, we won't provide that to you because it's confidential information. But if you don't ask, you don't know. And most importantly, as a foreign investor, investing your brand in these markets, ask for foreign references and reach out to those references. Ask what their experiences have been, right? If you are looking at distributors in the market, what other clients do they have? Ask for contact information and reach out to them to have conversations. Everybody is always happy to have a free conversation when they're trying to tell their Hong Kong and China stories, And last but not least, you've got to design your Hong Kong business model. And it does not necessarily mean you have to establish a company here. So there are a lot of ways you can design your business model. You can say, all right, I'm going to start selling from my home jurisdiction, if that is going to be in the UK, or if that's going to be in the Benelux region. You can do it from there, right? You can do it alone. You probably won't have the impact that you want unless you start using third parties, like a distributor locally that handles your trade functions and your e-commerce functions. Or you start building up a reputation in the market by using a media agency that is based here locally that handles your brand development. Or you hire an individual from your home jurisdiction that's going to be placed on the ground in Hong Kong to facilitate everything. That's a little bit tricky nowadays because of visa issuances and just the quarantine issues of getting in and out of the country. Or you can hire an individual that is a Hong Kong native or China native that's based here that can also help you to facilitate and scale up the business as is necessary. And as you can see, all of this is based on your commitment level. How much investment do you actually want to make in this type of business? The next step after that is obviously setting up your own Hong Kong company to handle the business, right, in Hong Kong. Or if you're looking to get into China, then you can set up entities in that jurisdiction as well. So it just, again, depends on the level of risk you want to take, the level of commitment, the level of financial resources that you have to be able to go from each stage to finally having your own entities on the ground. There's no right or wrong in regards to these business models. This is just to show you what is actually possible and feasible in the market. I normally do go through case studies, but I don't want to take up too much time because there's still David and Kathy to speak. But we've helped a lot of companies in regards to their market entry, and everybody has their own story, their own roadblocks and obstacles that they have encountered all the way through to ultimately getting the mindset that you do have to be problem solvers in this market to succeed. So I'm going to stop there and let Kathy and David explain their stories and what issues and challenges they may have encountered, but also what successes they have already reached in Hong Kong. All right.
Thank you, Christina.
Daisy, just one last conclusion. I always say this because I think it's so vital. Never underestimate the financial and time resources that you need to make to explore and enter the Hong Kong and Chinese market. People tend to underestimate how much money and time they have to put in to actually succeed.
Thank you, Christina. That's very insightful sharing. And I've learned some too in terms of how to do dual intelligence, because for TDC, for offices, sometimes we do receive inquiry about companies. And I think that's a very good step for people making inquiry with reaching out to different organizations. So thank you, Christina. Now we move on to the case studies. With two very brilliant cases. First, we have David from Gruffstuffs and also Kathy from Brighton Jean. So shall I give the stage to David first?
Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to sunny Manchester, where we're based. So I'm going to give you a bit of a case study of how we've entered into the Hong Kong and China market. So I'm just going to share my screen with you. Hopefully you can see that, guys. Perfect. Okay. So to give you a bit of a background about the Gruff Stuff, we are a multi-award-winning brand from the UK. We offer affordable premium skincare, which is inclusive and importantly genderless. For us, skin is skin. Anyone can use our product. It's all about bringing something super simple to the market. From my experience, I worked with some big name brands such as Creme de la Mer. I worked for Chanel, Dior, and a wide range of skincare brands in that as well. And one of the things when I was looking at the market was there's nothing that's truly simple. You can go into a range and a brand might have 50 different types of skincare SKUs, one for your left cheek, one for your neck. And for me, for someone who's quite well up with skincare, even that's overwhelming to me. So we created this to give an alternative to complex skincare regimes. We are ingredient led. That's a key thing of us. Everything's vegan. It's 100% vegan. We're certified vegan. We use a lot of vitamins, active ingredients, and it's suitable for all skin types. We don't differentiate between dry, normal, combination, oily. We don't care. We just want to bring out the best in which your skin can be. And sustainability is a key thing for the brand. Everything we do use, it's made from recycled plastic. That's our packaging. And when I talk about us being multi-award winning, last year, actually, we were the most awarded brand at the Pure Beauty Awards, which was a phenomenal result for a brand which has only been launched since originally January 2020. So you'll see in a moment how quickly we've grown. We're now in over 50 countries around the world. We work in Europe heavily with the Hut Group, so Look Fantastic. We work with Zalando, Douglas, and Nocibé in France, the Perfume Shop, part of AS Watson Group, and more recently, which is more relevant to this case study, we've just launched in Harvey Nichols, Hong Kong, which was a real result for us. So to give you an idea of how and what started the whole Hong Kong, China launch. One thing that was key to us when we realized is that we needed to protect the Gruff Stuff brand name, especially because we were growing quite rapidly through other markets internationally. We realized it's something that we needed to get done and quickly. So off we went to the Department of International Trade, where we have a fantastic advisor, Mr. Derek Swan, who represents us to the Northwest. And he, in turn, introduced us to the lovely Christina at Woodburn. And Christina specializes in trademarks, both in Hong Kong and China. And so that's in essence what we did for the very, very start. We knew we needed to do that. Before we did anything else, that's what we needed to do. We then brought on a international growth expert, Mr. Danny Corrigan from Agent. He has a very, very large experience in launching brands internationally, specifically in the Hong Kong and China markets and Middle East. So, we knew, you have to sit back sometimes and know your own strengths. And my strengths from an international sales background is Europe and North America. The Far East and the Middle East is not something for me in terms of where I have a great deal of connections, and connections get you everywhere. So with Danny, we worked through what was available in the market. We identified that there really is a key demand for ingredient-led clean beauty, specifically brands from the UK. We manufacture everything in the UK. We believe in our, quality. So that's in essence what we found. Also, when I was saying about how, you need to realize that you can't do everything yourself, we knew for that market, for Hong Kong, China, and Macau, we needed to appoint an exclusive brand partner. So it was a long process and selection process which we entered into. Like Christina was saying, do your due diligence. So we actually reached out to the DIT team, Department of International Trade in Shanghai and Hong Kong. Obviously, we went straight to contacts at Alibaba and JD, who suggested key partners in that territory. So they came highly recommended. And we worked through an array of different distributors, brand partners. So it's quite a stringent process. We wanted to know what they did, how they did it, what brands they currently represent, what their key focus is. There was a lot of quite heavy details we went into to find the perfect client. We were a bit like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, it was which was the right one for us. So then we actually appointed Sealand Capital Galaxy as our exclusive brand partner for Hong Kong, China, and Macau. We did this because they have a very, very strong digital marketing and media capabilities with their sister company. They also represent some key influential brands. from the UK, Europe, and more recently, they've announced that they're taking on Misguided Beauty, launching it. So they're quite a key partner for us. We work very closely with them to understand a strategic launch. We didn't want to just scattergun our brand anywhere and everywhere. We wanted a very stringent approach to the market. You have one chance to make it right. So we officially have now launched across Harvey Nichols in Hong Kong, which is a great achievement. That's a super hard one to get hold of and get into. So you'll see one of the pictures on the left, that's where we're presented. We've just launched into their brand new store, and we have been working very closely with our partner to understand who are the key KOLs. So we're actually just we're working with an array of KOLs actually, and we're getting some key feedback, which is fantastic. A lot of pictures of people using the product, which I always love to see. It always makes me laugh to see people around the world using our products. It's just an amazing feeling, from something which was a dream to now be in over 50 countries and have people around the world just picking up and buying our products. So we've also launched across Tmall Global, and this is where Christina has, really worked and helped us. Without having our trademark, we were not able to have launched on Tmall. So this is key for us to have that, which is why we've now obtained the trademark. And we are actually in the process of launching our own flagship store upon Little Red Book, which is hugely popular, I believe, across Hong Kong, China, which is a lot of key influencers on there, content creators, KOLs, and some absolutely fantastic premium luxury brands on there also. Our brand message for the Gruff Stuff is incredibly important to us. This is how we have developed and grown the brand. So this was part of the selection, and one thing that Sealand Capital Galaxy truly understand is that we're very, very strict on it, and they work with us and we work together, but we also understand the markets are very different to Europe, the UK, and culture is also. So we work with them to bespokely create a marketing plan, and also content, a lot of imagery, even the terminology has changed. We want to make it very specific for the market. So at the moment we've only just launched in September. So we're currently going through what we would call a brand incubation period. But this is where we get a lot of feedback. We listen to our partner, and because of the outcome that we've received already in feedback, we're already now developing special NPD, new product development, for this market. And if it works, we can roll out globally for that. With our expansion plans, Hong Kong was and is a key market for us. We knew this was a jewel in the crown for us to get right, and the rest of Asia follows. Once it's established, you have a huge array of key destinations for bricks and mortar retail, online retail. You have heavily followed KOLs. This is where we wanted to incubate our brand. We wanted it to grow in this market, and this is what we're doing. And because we have launched in Hong Kong and China, we're now having a lot of ongoing negotiations with other key distributors around Asia and the Pacific, which is fantastic. And we knew with getting Hong Kong, this would happen. The rest follows. The key challenge for us, for the territory, it's not Hong Kong, actually, it's China. And because we are a true vegan brand, we are natural and vegan, we absolutely are 100% against animal testing, which is what we would have to do to have our products brought into mainland China and stored on a shop floor. We understand this process is changing. However, there's no more clarification. So this at the moment is one of the key challenges we see for stopping our growth across China. So my tips for other UK brands, and it's not even tips, it's a must. It's protect your brand. Go and get your trademarks protected. Engage with the Department of International Trade. They have an array of contacts. Most of it is free to utilize, and they're really super happy to help. I mean, poor Derek, our advisor there, has got me on the phone all the bloody time, you know, and obviously Daisy at the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, fantastic resource to use. We've introduced a Daisy to our key partner over in Hong Kong now, and there's ongoing things there, and hire experts. Know when to step back and go, I'm not an expert. Bring in experts. You know, as Christina said, people are, cost is everything. I understand that, and I truly understand that as a new emerging brand. But sometimes you have to bite the bullet and know that the worth is more if you pay for it. You get a lot more back. So that's why we brought on Edge in to be our growth expert for the territory, and also Christina at Woodburn, who has brought on our trademark. You know, we couldn't have done that alone. And also bring on a key brand partner. You know, you don't know the market as well as you think you know. They know it better, always. So bring on a key brand partner. And that's in essence my case study for launching into Hong Kong and China.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you. And
Pleasure.
many congratulations for your expansion, and also for, in my perspective, for your expansion to Hong Kong too.
Thank you.
Hopefully, all of us could be able to go back to Hong Kong very soon and see your product. So may I now introduce Kathy from Brighton Jean. She's a very good friend, but also have a very brilliant product from Brighton. So Kathy, I'll leave the stage to you.
Fantastic. First of all, thank you so much to Daisy and HKTDC for hosting me today. There's a massive storm in Brighton at the moment, so I really hope that I don't get cut off at the moment. But I just want to say a huge thank you. I also want to say a massive thank you to Christina and David, who have basically given the most amazing cut out and keep guide of everything that you need to do. And many of the points that I wanted to make have been beautifully covered off by them. And I have to say that I've found out a lot of these things the hard way. And if you can follow their advice right at the beginning, you'll be off to a flying start. So on my job list for once I finish today is not only to go back and re-watch the presentations, but also to absolutely connect with Christina, because it sounds like she's a fantastically helpful contact on the ground. So I'm Kathy, I'm the founder of Brighton Gin. Just to be clear, that's a physical product. This is Brighton Gin here, just in case anyone thinks it's, you know, weightlifting and that I'm a bad advert for it, which I would be. We've been exporting to working in Hong Kong for a few years now, and I think the word pivot came up earlier, and that's a really key word, because originally we've found our partner to work with in Hong Kong, which is Watson's Wine, and we met them originally at a trade show, and then met them again a year or two later at another trade show. And when we met Jeremy from Watson's that second time, he was like, okay, you've shown that you're serious about coming to this market, that you want to build the relationships, we'll work with you. So obviously the big challenge that has been so clearly articulated so far is about how do you go and make those relationships and those connections without being able to do it in person. But I think one of the things also that's really clear is that it's possible to do that now in a way that is probably really transformative for the long term. There is nothing as good as meeting someone face to face and being able to make that personal connection. But there are all of these tools now at our disposal, which help make those initial introductions possible. So I really strongly urge you to do that and to follow up on lots of the tips that have been given so far. Also, by the way, I'm very open to, if you've got any questions at all that you want to ask, I will take anything head on and give you as honest an answer as possible. For us, the importance of relationships has been completely key. And again, I think that's something that's come out through everything that Christina and David have had to say. You know, Brighton is a long way from Hong Kong. We have lots of things in common, not least loving having a really good time, but actually, you know, what happens when you want someone to look after your brand and represent you on the ground? So with Brighton Gin, we are totally focused on quality and sustainability. They've been key brand values since the very beginning, and I've been working on Brighton Gin now for 10 or 11 years, and those values have always been absolutely core to us. We're not a volume competitor, we're absolutely about quality. So every bottle of this or any of the other Brighton Gin products you see behind me, they're all made by hand in our distillery in Brighton. We've had the great pleasure of hosting Daisy earlier this year to come and visit. She came and made a bottle, as well. How actually it's quite hard to get the wax right, but for us it's absolutely about quality, and very much we're aimed at a discerning consumer who wants to really enjoy the very best things in life. And not being a volume contender is not a problem. I think that figure of 86 million people within the Greater Bay Area is such a useful one to bear in mind, because for us, we only want a very, very small proportion of those people to be able to enjoy our gin, for it to be a great export market for us. So I think those really key points about IP and trademarks and looking after your brand are absolutely core and super key. And like I say, I will be following up with Christina as soon as we've finished, just to do a bit of a health check about whether all the things that we're doing are right. Because we entrust our brand to our partners working on the ground, we need to know that they can, not only have we protected everything legally, but also that they can really communicate our values to the people who are interested in our gin. One of the things that's difficult for us at the moment is that we haven't been able to do for now nearly 2 years the things that we would usually do in a market to help grow the brand. So lots of work in the on-trade, so that's restaurants and bars, where you work with bartenders to help really sell and communicate your brand, where people can try it for the first time. Again, to pick on Daisy, I think she got to try Brighton Gin for the first time in Dr. Fern's in Landmark, not far from where Christina is at the moment. And for lots of people, being able to try it the first time in a bar is a key way to engage with the brand. So we definitely have challenges there. But for us, we very much see our work in Hong Kong, and hopefully over the years to expand into the Greater Bay Area, is about a long-term relationship with not only with Watsons but with HKTDC. It's about building friendships and relationships that are there for a long time, and absolutely it's about investing not only cold hard cash but time into things and being prepared to do that. I think the long-term gains are potentially amazing, but you've really got to be up for putting the effort in and giving the time to it. It's an amazing place to do business in. I, like probably everybody, I can't wait to go back and revisit, but I don't know when that's going to be, and I'm not sure any of us do particularly. I hope that it will be at some time next year, but certainly I want to be able to return at a time where it is possible to go and meet a lot of people face to face and engage with people on the ground. We also, just a quick word in that we're also a vegan brand, so interesting to hear about David as well. And for us, that includes not only the liquid in the bottle, but also all of the packaging, the wax that seals this, and the gum that holds the label on. And for us, it's as much about quality as it is about pursuing a plant-based lifestyle. Everything in this bottle is of the best quality, from using 100% organic wheat as the base spirit to hand-peeled citrus. A lot of love and care goes into each bottle, and that love of care and quality is one of the reasons why Hong Kong we see as being a key market for us in the long term. There are fabulous people who want to have a great time enjoying the very best, and we hope that Brighton Gin is that. Like I say, I'm happy to answer any and every question. If you have any, please fling some in my direction, or if you don't fancy asking directly, come and find me on LinkedIn afterwards. I'm Kathy Caton, or you can find us on Instagram at Brighton Ginstagram.
Thank you, Kathy, as always.
And I didn't swear this time.
Thank you, Kathy. And Indeed, Kathy's brand, before I met Kathy a few years ago, I actually had the first taste of her gin in Hong Kong, and that's how we actually met in person afterwards. So I hope that everyone could go to Hong Kong very soon and to find her product and also David's product in Hong Kong too. So now may I pass the floor to Christina to moderate any questions from our audience today.
So there have been no questions that have popped in, but as is usual, I've got a whole bunch of questions that I'd like to ask. Let me just start my video again. I actually did a presentation a couple of weeks ago about supply chains and the fact that it's really hard to get product anywhere right now. How getting your products, I mean, you both are producing in the UK. I'm first of all curious how Brexit has impacted you in getting product out, but I'm also curious how easy or difficult it has been to ship your products to Hong Kong. Have you had delays? Do you have inventory problems on the ground? Is this one of your challenges that you have?
Oh, crikey. David, do you want to go first or shall I weigh in?
I'll go first then. So in terms of supply chain issues, thankfully, touch wood, we're actually not too bad. I'm quite obsessive compulsive when it comes to managing stock. So I have things on order continuously, planned in advance. And it's more so because I know lead times have changed globally to get hold of components. And I know one of the key ones is actually paper. Who'd have thought paper? I mean, I was waiting for some card for nearly 16 weeks, which was a surprise. But you know, I overplan. And in terms of shipping, you know, we do a lot with big shout out to DHL, but we do a lot with DHL, but only because we
do you fly it? Does that mean you fly the products over?
We fly it, but it's because we actually offset all the carbon through DHL, so we only use their green option. So there's a lot of projects that we do and we offset in terms of that. It's because we can ship so much in a small quantity. So one box can contain hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of units, especially if you can take into consideration our eye balm is a 15 ml. It's tiny. So we can ship a lot in a very small way. So it's cost effective, and also it's we do it in a green manner. Everything is offset. In terms of Brexit, that has become a bit of a nightmare, I suppose, for most businesses. I'm yet to find a business which has not dealt with any complications with Brexit. Specifically with shipping, there seems to be a Brexit tax on top of everything now. Even getting goods in, I've had goods sat in Germany for over 6 months in customs. Even though we completed all the paperwork, there was not enough custom officers to work through it. So it ended up getting sent back to us, which is just a nightmare. So this is why now in this post-Brexit world, unfortunately, my business focus is outside of the EU. That's why we're heavily looking towards Asia, North America, and we have a lot of key brand partners there who are willing to work with us because it's easier. It's much easier to do that.
And I mean, I would echo a lot of that. We, yes, certainly don't know any business, or at least a manufacturing production, someone dealing with a physical product. I don't know anyone for whom Brexit has been helpful. That's the most polite way I can put it. And actually, again, although from our side, all of the incredibly complicated paperwork, and I deal with a very heavily regulated product because it's alcohol. Although all of our stuff is right, it has become so complicated for shipping partners that certainly to begin with, yes, we were getting tons of stuff just returning from the ground, say in Germany, with the shipper just saying the too difficult light has come on, we just can't do it. So I think there are probably more joys to come with that in the new year. Certainly in terms of supply chains and costs, I think we're definitely still looking at within my sector with things continuing to escalate. whether it's, even though, for example, I use a bottle that's manufactured in the UK because we want to support local, but it uses raw materials that come from around the world, and those have really escalated. Yes, the thrilling thing about cardboard that has doubled in price. So all sorts of things that actually never thought that there would be issues with, suddenly there is.
Yeah.
So I think, and in terms of sending stuff outwards, while there's been such a handbrake on flights and ships and all sorts of things, that's definitely caused all sorts of issues. Oh, hello, have I lost you? Are you there? Sorry,
You're
I think the Brighton storm just cut things for a second. And I mean, I think we'll see what the new year brings, really,
Right.
but certainly the costs, both the costs and the complication factors, have really massively gone up. I hope that that's not a permanent shift. Watch this space. It's very greying for the hair, I have to say. The experiences all round of yes, trying to operate a production business, manufacturing during COVID and Brexit, very aging.
So I'm curious, with COVID and this pandemic, I've met a lot of companies that have halted their international expansion, particularly to the Far East. So it's amazing to see two companies that have, you can't travel over here. You've never met your partner. Well, Kathy, you've probably met Watson's face to face, but David, I don't think you've ever met your Hong Kong distributor face to face. What pushed you to hit that green light and say, okay, regardless of being able to travel, you can't even visit the Harvey Nichols store where your products are sitting. What mindset did you have to say, we're going to keep this going, we're going to hit the green light, we're going to push for this, we're not going to just focus on the EU market, but we're going to go ahead and go to the Far East? Because I think that would be a really interesting perspective to have for a lot of companies that are so hesitant right now about going to Hong Kong, or even just starting business in Asia in general, whether it's Hong Kong or China. What's been your mindset?
I think for me, because my experience has been a lot of international trade, I used to deal all over the world, I used to even go to Nigeria selling bath and body washes, I've literally been to a lot of places, and you get a kind of feel for it. And I always say, go with your gut. I mean, everyone says that, but it is something that I truly work by. We, as I mentioned in the case study, we did a lot of due diligence where we went through key representatives from some of the largest shopping retail spaces in Hong Kong, China, and we asked those specific questions of who do you recommend, why do you recommend them, and then we went and did our own research on them. And if you get a feel sometimes when there's specific brands that have already partnered with such a partner, there's a big due diligence process has been involved, and when we wanted a lot of information. We wanted them to present to us, a full case study of how they see our brand performing in a market. We only entered into any agreement upon the basis of it was, a minimum to 3 to 5 year exclusivity period, because then it works both ways. It has to work both ways with the partner and with us. So we support one another. We also wanted to understand, what their key marketing focus would be. How would they present the brand, but not just our brand? How have they done it with previous brands? And gain a bit of understanding of results. And that's where you get a feel in the end. Once you've got as much information on that table, you can make a pretty confident decision and go, yeah, they're the people we want to work with, and let's go for it. Like you said, Christina, and also Kathy picked up on, you've got to pivot in this environment at the moment. You have got to move. It's pointless sitting back and waiting for borders to open, because like yourself, you're sat in a quarantine hotel. Who'd have thought from a couple of weeks ago you'd be doing this?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I heard a great phrase recently about, never let a good crisis go to waste. And actually, I think that there are, and again, to use that word mindset, if you're open to looking at where opportunities might be, actually one of the positive things, the way that's happened for us particularly over the last 12 months, is that people who we would never have been able to get in front of before unless we'd shown how serious we were about getting on a plane to Australia, for example. We've been able to meet like this. I've been able to post them samples, do a virtual tasting. We've been able to do a virtual distillery tour through the Watson's Facebook page and show people around and do things that actually were never previously possible. And I think that thing of going, actually, this is a chance also to catch people who perhaps might be stuck at home or in a quarantine hotel and maybe want to have or are open to talking to new people because they're cooped up. And we've been able to actually really talk to all sorts of new partners around the globe. Yeah, I think we picked up 3 or 4 new export markets over the last year based just on that. I have no idea how tall or short anyone is. All I've seen is this bit of them, but it's been a fantastic thing. And actually, and because of the convenience about being able to talk online as well, there's something, I'm talking to people there at home, they've got their kids running around in the background of the dogs barking, and there's a certain kind of, it's much more relaxed and an intimate conversation. And we've really been able to build those relationships at a distance, and also at a time that's convenient for them. Although I did have to say that I did fluff a sales approach to someone the other day because we were doing it at 4:30 in the morning, and it didn't work. I'm not born for that time, but I do think, use these new ways of working that are here, and kind of lean into it and use this as an opportunity. But I'm not much less international experience than David, because you're in 50 markets and we're in, I think, 8 or 9. So we're a different scale, but there's definitely opportunity in this moment of crisis.
I commend you both, because I think it's amazing that you have hit that green light and kept it going, because there are a lot of companies that are extremely hesitant, scared. Fear is a big component. And well done to both of you.
And writing.
Sorry, just one very quick thing to add is that also I'd just add that as a company making gin in the UK, actually for a lot of COVID times, our usual routes to market have all been closed. So because hospitality was shut and all of the wholesale into that actually shut 90% of our business. So we very quickly moved to not only really focusing on online and our direct to consumer sales, but also it ironically has given us the time, and you really do need to invest the time into focusing on export. You need to do your research, like has been said so brilliantly by the other panelists. You really need to do your research, know what you're talking about, and but the gains are definitely there to be made.
Writing on what Kathy just mentioned about crisis, and I'm sure Christina will know this because you grew up in Hong Kong. You must speak fluent Cantonese. So in
I can swear in Cantonese. I can't speak Cantonese.
But
that's what I learned at school in Hong Kong.
But in Chinese, we call it "ai gei," meaning like in every crisis, there's opportunities. So I think you just read up what Kathy, David, and also Christina shared that, it's a very difficult and challenging time, but just reach out to the people you trust and find your partners through various platforms. There's opportunities there.
I mean, we've run over time, so I mean, I do have more questions, but I don't know if we should continue. Daisy, Joey, let me know.
But no, thank you so much, and I know Christina would love to stay so we could keep you company. But thank you so much for everyone. I know it's nearly lunchtime in the UK, and just for Kathy's story, we've met recently. We visited the distillery. If you want to know more about how she kind of changes or evolves during this crisis, actually we did an interview, which is a very good interview about the Brighton gin and also how she survived through COVID. So do go to our YouTube channel, but today's webinar will also be uploaded to the YouTube channel too. So if you miss anything, don't panic, don't worry, we will share the video link with all the audiences today. So thank you very much, Kathy, Christina, and David.
Thank you so much for having me. I wish it was in person and I could be pouring you a gin and tonic, but you know, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.